Day.
What's going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome to the Better Baseball MLB DFS Playbook Podcast. Here we are recording for Friday's 14-game main slate here. James, we've made it. It's Friday. TGIF, my good friend.
TGIF indeed, John. Massive slate, including Coors Field. We only have 1 day baseball game, so why waste any? I mean, lots of good pitching, lots of good hitting. I mean, there's no need to waste any more time. Let's hop right into the damn thing.
Let's get into it. Quick shout out to our friends over at Real Time Fantasy Sports. Go to rtsports.com/alarm. Promo code alarm23. New users get a 100% deposit match up to $200. You can scan the QR code here on the screen, or again, go to rtsports.com/alarm. Take part in their fantasy football or best ball championship going on right now. Fantasy Football Championship has a $500,000 grand prize for you to potentially take home. Or if you like the pick'em games, they have that as well. DFS pick'em contest each and every night for the MLB slate, and soon to come the NFL slates as well. So go to rtsports.com/alarm. Promo code alarm23 to take advantage of today's offer. James, taking a look here over on the DraftKings main slate for tonight. Again, we only had 3 games on the Thursday slate, 4 games in total. So big board to talk about here. Also, we have Coors Field, the Toronto Blue Jays, an offense that has tormented us for the majority of this season. Outside of that, like random 21 explosion, has drawn the Coors Field card tonight. So keep that in mind as we go through the slate, that we may be playing some Schneider, some Danny Jansen maybe. Like, we'll figure it out as we go. But looking at pitching, we have 4 guys over 10K. Tyler Glasnow against Cleveland, Max Scherzer against Minnesota, Zach Wheeler against Milwaukee, and Freddie Peralta against Philadelphia here. Talking about top 4 price guys, how do you rank them out here?
So, I mean, Glasnow and Scherzer are in really good form. I think the Scherzer upside is tremendous with the strikeouts. 2 of the last 3 games, he's had double digits, and we know Minnesota strikes out a lot. So I'm perfectly fine getting to Scherzer, perfectly fine getting to Glasnow. I know the Guardians don't strike out a lot, but outside of 1 start against the Yankees, Glasnow's been as surefire as it gets in that department. 6 or more strikeouts in every start but 1 this year. So I do think we get back on track. He's averaging 22 fantasy points per game. He's averaged 25 per his last 10 starts, so I'm perfectly fine in Glasnow. Wheeler and Peralta are a little more tricky because Milwaukee's offense has been pretty good lately.
Sure.
So have the Phillies. But then you look at what Freddie Peralta has been doing lately. It's like, holy smokes, this is the guy that was pitching like as good as he ever had in recent
strikeout
years ago.
Strikeout numbers are insane. 88 strikeouts in 57 and 2/3 innings is ridiculous. But with it, a sub 1 whip for Freddie Peralta,
crazy.
2.97 ERA. This is the best he's looked. A certain somebody once had him in their Roto League and then let him go midseason. Kind of wish that was still not the case. Could have used that strikeouts for sure. Listen, I'm with you there, but how do you mean dangerous territory going up again?
Yes.
Bryce Harper is looking like the man that won the MVP right now. Hit his 300th career home run yesterday. Trey Turner's on fire. Kyle Schwarber has more homers than singles this year, but that's fine because he's got 37 of them. That offense is rolling and scary. So, very worrisome there to target Peralta and Wheeler. I mean, listen, we know the strikeout ceiling Max can have in this Minnesota matchup, but again, a lot of home run power in that lineup as well. So, Glasnow may be the safest matchup, but then we have Cleveland with a very low strikeout rate. So, lowers that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's merit to all 4. I think the next tier is equally as talented.
Is Justin Verlander better than Matt Manning, do you think? Because Matt Manning shut out the Yankees straight through 6. So
yeah, maybe he might be better. And again, we've talked about it all year. Yankees can't hit right-handed pitching. They can't. Outside of a Hail Mary Anthony Volpe 9th inning home run today, they would have gotten shut out, right? So I do like Verlander quite a bit at 9,800.
I think Verlander was the
Senga's
chalk the
been
last time he faced the Yankees too, wasn't he?
yes, yep, he was, and I would perfectly okay getting there. He's pitched against him 3 times this year. 142 ERA, 21 fantasy points per game. So
Yeah, that feels pretty good. Kodai Senga 96, Eddie Rodriguez 94, Logan Gilbert 93, Max Fried at 9K is the rest of that 9K range. Anybody for you?
yeah, like Erod's okay, but he's been bad 2 of his last 3. It's a good matchup. I know Luis Robert exists and Tim Anderson's a little better, but I could see myself getting Erod a little bit here.
Just afraid of J-Rod at this point? Is that all this is?
Yeah, I guess like, well, we'll see. Even if J-Rod was scratched, right? They put him in the lineup and then they again took him out. So we'll see if he's even. Is there a little concern on the Seattle side? If there's no J-Rod, I'm definitely interested in Senga.
Yeah, I mean, Senga's been nails at home all season long, and then he's just pitching good in general. Another elite strikeout guy. We know Seattle's strikeout rate against righties was up there for a very long time this season. I think I would have some interest here, even if J-Rod played, but obviously that just increases the risk. But Senga's really cooled it with the home runs lately. I mean, only 3 in the last 10 starts, 12 on the year. So, definitely keeping the ball in the park has been fruitful for him there. So I like Verlander and Senga the most of this group.
I would agree with that group.
Okay. Moving our way down this year, again, a lot of games, a lot of pitching. Yuri Perez, Joe Ryan, Michael Wacha, Mitch Keller is your 8K range. I have talked poorly about Mitch Keller for a little bit. Maybe he's figured some things out.
We have reverted back to beginning of the year, Mitch Keller again.
Ebbs and flows, right? It just kind of goes up and down. But I mean, he has been very, very good the last 3 starts.
Yeah, he has been really good, and the price is still decreasing, right? I mean, it was 8,900 at the start of this stretch, and now we're talking about a guy who's 8K. I definitely have interest because the Cardinals have definitely been a better hitting team against left-handed pitching. I know the Nationals don't strike out, but it's hard to ignore what Yuri Perez has done the last 2 games. Like, the kid is just kind of special. It is what it is. Like, he has been pretty dominant, 17 strikeouts and no earned runs over his last 2 starts. I know he had the hiccups against the Yankees.
He has 2 starts against Miami. He's got 13 strikeouts in 11 innings. It's rare that a team will have more strikeouts and innings against Washington.
Yeah, he's a special pitcher. I would be okay getting to Yuri Perez.
I would agree with you. Walker got roughed up in his last outing. I don't know if I would. I mean, he's still so much cheaper than he has been.
It's a good spot. Giants have been awful.
They have been
awful.
So Joe Ryan, the only no-go here?
Yeah, Joe Ryan definitely looked better in his return off that IL stint. That probably just put him on there because he was struggling so bad. Give him some time off, but probably no to Joe Ryan.
I would agree. Tier below, guys in the 7K range. Julio Urias against Atlanta, no thank you. James Paxton looks worn out. 75. I mean, the guy's been on the injured list so often. These are probably the most innings he's thrown in years. Yeah. Sandoval against Oakland. Yep. Could see rostership going to Sandoval here, even though he hasn't been great. It's just targeting Oakland is a popular play. Rodon is now under 7K. Yikes. Sear 65. Right, Ryu's kind of interesting. I know it's in Coors. I'm kind of interested.
He's a good really pitcher. Like he's a good pitcher. Like, this is a guy who finished top 3 in the Cy Young twice, had Tommy John, y'all must have forgot type of thing. Yeah, I think it's fine. I really do. It's Coors. It's not the best, obviously, pitching environment, but there aren't a lot of, like, I do think Sandoval is going to garner a lot of ownership. We've seen the upside lately, 26 fantasy points against the Mets. He's now put up 20 fantasy points twice in his last 4 starts, 3 times in his last 7. Like, he has some big outings on his ledger, and he gets Oakland, right? Who, is still being very much Oakland. Yeah. So I like the 2 guys you gave shouts to. It also is sad to see Rodon's price this far.
Yeah, can't go there.
Sad to see Rodon.
You were touting Dakota Hudson there for a little bit. I know a last start, not great, but would you run it back against Pittsburgh here?
Maybe he looked kind of bad in that Philly start, and I
It's
should
Philly,
just,
right? Everybody's looking
obviously
at it
it's
against Philly. So
Philly. He also has to face Brian Hayes, who's been on a different planet. Brian Reynolds on the better end of his split. I'm okay with it. I'm not. I mean, I'm more
sure.
indifferent than it
He's
than
like the only
anything
guy under
else.
6K that I would pinch. So
Yes, maybe
I was
Tuki
gonna say, I
Toussaint.
mean, I don't think I would get there, but I mean,
Maybe.
5 shutout last start.
I think the Toussaint play depends on what you're doing with your
Sure.
SB1. Because if you're going like Glass now or Scherzer, then Toussaint obviously saves a
Right.
little cash.
All right, moving on over then. We'll talk a lot again. Infielders, our top price infielders that we're looking to target here. There's so many pitchers. It's like, where do you go to start all of this? We have picked on Urias a little bit at times. Murphy's 51, $100 up at the top price. You'll have the Coors catchers in Danny Jansen, probably the super chalk at 41 against Flex in there for sure. But where else are you looking to go?
Are we looking catcher
Yeah,
specifically, or
I
you
think
want to talk
we'll talk
infield in
catcher
general?
specific. We'll give it its flowers, and then we'll talk the rest of the positions.
Yeah, I mean Jansen and Kirk, 3,500 too. Kirk, they'll both get ownership. They'll probably both be in the lineup. I could see myself getting to someone like Jonah Heim, 3,700 against Joe
Sure.
Ryan. Logan O'Hop gets a
Yeah, him and
lefty,
Furman
and
actually
JP
both in pretty good
Sears.
spots.
Yeah, Fermin is like kind of slowed down, but he's been good against left-handed pitching all
Yeah,
year, so
more of an
I'm
indictment
okay with
against
that.
Paxton for me than really the current
Yeah,
form.
true. And then, Gabriel Moreno, 2,600, he gets a lefty.
Yep.
Our chalk catcher
Every
back,
time,
John.
right? Just plug and play.
Yep.
Gabriel Moreno.
Boom. Martin Maldonado gets a lefty. Woo-hoo.
Where's his price at these days?
2,300.
I mean, it's good. And Rhode Island's trash.
I prefer Moreno.
Okay.
Prefer Moreno, but
I
just
should
throwing
get
it
back
out
there.
there.
Manny Pini's back in baseball. Good for him. He got released. He was
Shout
so
out.
close. At one point, he was back
No
in
longer.
baseball. It's a name I hadn't seen in felt like forever. All right, now give me your top priced infielders across the board. Like, what's the auto plug and play here for you?
If you guys saw John's Twitter account on Thursday, you'll know that he popped a pretty important baseball card. 3 of them. One, Bobby Witt, $6,100 gets Paxton. We know how good Bobby Witt's been in general, but specifically against left-handed pitching this year. He's been quite dominant. He almost had double dong on Wednesday, flew out to the warning track in the second home run.
Came through for us. Or Wednesday, rather, came through.
You sure did. On Wednesdays, yep. So I love Bobby Witt. I think Houston is interesting. Altuve, Bregman's been Bregman is it's so funny how good he is when his whole lineup is behind him. Like they're like, let's pitch to Bregman, and Bregman's like, all right, pitch to me then. I'll just hit 400 over the last 10 games. It's like, okay, dude. And then like
Vladdy?
What? Yeah, I was gonna say like it's gonna be hard for me not to. He's gonna be popular. I know he's obviously having a down year in his instance. He also has hits in like 12 straight games. So there is. I know the power hasn't been on full display, but double-digit fantasy points in 3 of 4. We have seen a couple multi-hit games or extra base hits. We have seen 5 RBIs over his last 3. So I would definitely spin up on.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, that doesn't exclude guys like Harper or Ohtani and that whole crew. If you want to run there, you certainly can get to it. Looking down in the mid-tier range, again, we have Jordan Lyles, and when they're in Kansas City, you're going to have some nice hitting weather. Right, so some wind could be blowing out.
Yeah.
Tristan Casas is here at $4,300. Feels special to me. A really good spot to give him some love in the mid tier.
Yeah, I mean, insert any Boston play on Friday because they all could hit home runs, right? It's all like I'll just come back with you mid tier. One of your favorite players in the league, Brandon Drury, gets JP Sears, $4,300.
And Rengifo in good spots.
Yeah, him and Rengifo in pretty good spots here. So I would get to either. And we know, to your point about Rengifo,
I think 500
he's
the
been better
last 10
against.
games.
Yeah, anyone who picked him up in FGA must be
Happy, have
really
to be
happy
happy.
with themselves right now. Great punt this week. And Rengifo's been better against lefties. Drury's been better against
And
lefties.
JP
So
Sears is a home
all
run
systems
waiting to
go.
happen. So,
He
yeah,
is.
I'm
He
a big
is.
fan of going Angels there for sure. Let's see. You mentioned Brian Hayes. He's $4,400 there. Anybody else down here?
I was looking. Brandon Belt is day to
Okay.
day. He didn't play Wednesday, but I could see a scenario where Belt 4,200 is a little expensive for him, but he's firmly in play. Schneider's 48, John. Just for
Yeah, I was trying to see
context.
where Kevin Biggio was. Kevin is
Ooh,
31, so could see some Kevin Biggio in
good
the
value.
lineup there against Flexen. That'd be a nice little value play to get some
Yeah, I
exposure
agree.
to. Ketel Marte gets Jake Irvin at 5K. We've liked him against lefties, and obviously you can just throw most of the Diamondbacks sort of into that conversation there as well. Let's see here. Any value shortstops? Orlando Arcia is 43 against Urias. Again, not a spot. Rengifo has the multi-positional eligibility there. They gave Sedan shortstop outfield eligibility. That's interesting. That's interesting. They are keeping him up with the roster expansion, so he's here for the long haul.
You think he's going to continue to lead off?
I mean, he has legitimate speed, so we'll see. Doesn't profile to me because of his like just wild strike zone as a leadoff guy, but
Right.
there was a lot of rumors swirling. I can't imagine this being the case, but I guess last night, Alex Verdugo and Chaim Bloom were spotted having a conversation, just them two on the field for like a half an hour after yesterday's game, which feels weird as rosters are expanding. And, we've seen, I'm not saying they're going to release Alex Verdugo, but what if it's like, hey, Alex, we're going to give Weiler and Sedan some playing time here, and you may be on the bench a little bit. Thanks for the memory, sort of thing, right? So, we'll see. Could be reading into nothing, but how often do you see a player and a GM, just them two, speaking for 30 minutes after a game together, right? Doesn't feel common. So, could see Sedan or Weiler as he comes off the paternity leave, maybe start playing a little bit more as the season moves on there. So, all right, moving on over to outfield. Again, Ronald Acuna is 69. Mookie Betts is 68. Shohei Ohtani is 67. You can play all three of them. Totally fine. I'm okay with it. If you want to target it, you can. I know you like Julio. If he's in the lineup against Senga, again, hot hitter, hard to argue. Both Jordan and Kyle Tucker hit lefties. So, I don't know if anyone's going to play Houston on a slate like this. So if you want to be different, I think getting the Houston bats in your lineup, because they're all so jacked up price-wise against Rodon, could be a pretty interesting spot.
Yeah, you say hit lefties. They don't just hit lefties.
Tucker is a freak against
lefties.
pitching. I don't really get it. So, yeah, 100% in agreement with you there. What else are you looking down in this like lower 5K range?
I mean, I liked Erod a little bit, but Luis Robert, 4 straight multi-hit games, including a home run his last time out. We know the upside Luis Robert has, just, ever so casual, 35 home runs, 17 stolen bases this year. 70 RBIs is criminal. That just shows you how bad they are. He should have 120 RBIs.
Once had a year like that where he hit like 36 homers and had 90 RBIs or 80 RBIs. Like, what? How no one was ever on for him in Milwaukee.
This is criminal. This is criminal to see. And only 81 runs for a guy who, dude, he has 69 nice extra base hits and 17 stolen bases. So he is always in scoring position. How has he only scored 81 times? Again, criminal, but I would get to Luis Robert here, 54, if you're not playing Eddie Rosario. Springer, 51. Chisholm gets Jake Irvin. We know Jake Irvin has struggled against
Yeah.
left-handed bats specifically. I mentioned the Dakota Hudson thing. Brian Reynolds starting to heat up a little bit. Multi-hit games in 2 of his last 4. And then you get to Adam Duvall, who unfortunately didn't homer the other day, which was kind of
Had
a
a double.
letdown. But yeah, what a letdown that was. I mean, look at all these home runs that he's hit. But I could see why James didn't have the conversation with Adam
Yeah,
Duvall,
right.
because it's like, Alex, you want me to bench this guy? Like, what are we
Yeah.
doing here? So I would definitely get to the guy who has 7 home runs in his last 10 games against the guy who's allowed more home runs than like anyone
Right.
over the last 5 years.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also like Riley Green here at $4,800. Chas McCormick is $4,800 in good spots. Yoshida, 47. Ozuna is $4,700. Again, Julio Urias is a good pitcher, but it's probably just doesn't feel like it's going to be his day to me, the way the Atlanta Braves are hitting the baseball here. So in on that for sure. Always willing to beat up on Davies, garbage human being. So I'll play some Baltimore with Santander there. Kerry Carpenter continues to be a baller at 46. If you want to run some more mid-tier guys out there.
Like everyone you just mentioned. I don't have any objection.
If Verdugo's playing at 45, it's a great spot for him. Again, Verdugo's really done nothing to get benched, and there's no indication he's going to get benched. It's just, again, just a very weird scene to have him.
It's Boston being Boston there, just speculating on their radio station.
Exactly. Sure. It's pretty much all it is. Exactly. Guys in the low 4K range.
Nobody. I mean, like if Edmund gets on, we saw him steal 3 bases the other day. So like, there's that against Keller. Story does get a lefty here if you want to play Story Ruiz. You talked about him not getting on. Well, he got on twice and had 2 stolen bases. If Story Ruiz gets on, he's going to steal bases. So he gets a lefty here. He's been better in that split. I could see myself getting to Story. Then you kind of drop below 4K. Right to Dalton Varsho, 39. I feel like this is a spot that Dalton Varsho, if you look at his splits this year, he has been awful at home and he has been pretty good on the road. Plus, off the top of my head, I don't have his numbers, but he's played a handful of games in Coors. Like there's probably a large sample of Dalton Varsho in Coors. So he has history there. I like Varsho. Lourdes, 3,900 gets Cole Irvin. You're playing Tigers, Matt Vierling, no thanks. He stinks. Sawinski hit a bomb the other day. He's starting to heat up. So there's some.
I mean, Eloy's 36.
Decent.
I mean, that's.
Yeah. He's just been he's been good, right?
Yeah.
But obviously the 4 hits are carrying this recent stretch. Why hasn't he been better?
Been hurt too much, getting out of rhythm, maybe?
I know. Yeah. I think it's the injury. I shouldn't nitpick here. Eloy's had a decent season, but
you have O'Hearn at 35, Kiermaier at 34. If Kiermaier gets in the lineup here, certainly can be just a lefty bat there against Flexen in range there. Jaquan Bay, did we talk about it second? I forget, but if not, he's got him here against Hudson, $3,300. Let's see.
How about Parker Meadows? 3,200. He's Austin Meadows' brother, also on the same team as Austin Meadows. One of them playing.
So Austin Meadows collecting a paycheck, and Parker Meadows is earning it.
Yep. One brother is making more not playing than the other one. But Parker Meadows has been pretty good through 10 games. 294, a home run, 2 stolen bases. He's an elite center fielder. They talked about it. I was watching the Yankees game, and Riley Green was like, "Why am I not playing center field anymore?" And then he saw this guy go track some fly balls. He's like, "Oh, okay, got it."
Hey, good. Save my legs. I'll go play corner outfield.
Right.
Nelson Velasquez hits lefties again. I think Paxton might just be done at this point.
Yep.
Season is just maybe getting away from him. Pilar's 3K. Looking for Weiler. Where's Weiler Bray? There he is. Dad strength. Weiler Bray. Just had a child. Assuming he is off the paternity list, was activated on Thursday. So, assuming that Weiler Abreu may be back in the lineup here, I mean, was pretty good in those 2 games against Houston, 0 for 4 against the Dodgers last time out, but a lot of power here for Weiler Abreu, and we'll get the Jordan Lyles experience at $2,800.
Yeah, I'm totally down. I think you're spot on calling out the power, especially when you look at the rest of the position, not a lot to love in the value
No,
tier.
not really. And again, we'll see when lineups officially come out. Again, James and I come back live at 5 o'clock Eastern time to break it all down for you with the lineups and getting you ready for the slate. All right, let's build here. Verlander and Senga, Verlander or Senga. What was our thinking here?
Maybe
Keller?
Verlander Sandoval as a pairing
Sandoval? Okay.
or Keller. Yeah, I was thinking either Sandoval or Keller as the SP2. It doesn't. I don't care. They're both
It
cheap.
feels
We
like
could definitely go Keller if we
Keller
wanted
feels
to.
better, more reliable to me. And you like Verlander over?
He has a massive ceiling.
He does huge. You like Verlander over Kodai? So do I. I'm just confirming. Yeah,
Probably.
that's fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably. Yeah.
4K. Jansen, I
Moreno.
guess, right? Oh, Moreno. Yeah,
Oh
Moreno versus
yeah, I was
lefty is
gonna.
a good one. Yeah, let's save some money. I like that. All right, Moreno, 4,200 for first baseman and the rest of the positions here. You want to plug in Weiler probably, right? Just get some value in.
Yep. Yep.
Abreu.
Vladdy.
Yeah, I mean, might as well. Vladdy, Varsho, Schneider. You think he's too
Yeah, if you
expensive?
wanted to do full. If you wanted to instead of Schneider do a little pivot, we could do Cavan 31.
Yeah, let's do Cavan. I like it. I'm a sucker for that. You don't even have to ask. Cavan Biggio. All right, 4,700. Let's get Bregman. And maybe Tucker. Do you think?
Do we have a value shortstop? Rengifo is
I'll go
39.
Rengifo. Is that the cheapest we think we got though?
That gets us Duval, dude. That gets us
Does it?
Duval.
Oh, that's great. Love that.
4,900 for Adam Duval right there. Bada bing, bada boom.
Love it. Easy money. That's an example here for the 14 game slate. Again, we'll have the full playbook out by yours truly. I am writing the playbook for 14 games here on the Friday. We will, of course, have the live stream at 5 o'clock. So make sure you tune in, like, and subscribe to the channel. Get that notification on there already. And James and I will be back for you all. Find us in Discord. Find us on the Twitter machine, and we will catch you all later.